Good morning. This is call number 2022-41887 in the interest of Jeremiah Ozine. Please raise your right hand to be sworn, ma'am. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and your relationship to the child.
Heather Alzine, I'm Jeremiah's mother.
All right, and representing the Attorney General, State of Texas.
Kavita Sharma. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning. Court will note that the non-custodial parent is Michael Messer Jr. Mr. Messer was personally served on August 9th, 2022 at 4:34 p.m. at 6033 Garth Road, apartment 1103 in Baytown, Harris County, Texas, and he has not filed an answer or made an appearance. Is that correct, Ms. Sharma?
Correct, Your Honor.
We'll proceed by default.
Yes, Judge. I would like to call the mother, Miss Heather Ozine.
All right.
Miss Ozine, who is the father of your child, Jeremiah?
Michael Messer Jr.
And is there any possibility that another person would be the father during the time of conception?
No.
Are you asking the court to name Michael Messer Jr. as the biological father of your son?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you tell me when was the last time Mr. Messer saw Jeremiah?
He hasn't seen Jeremiah.
Was he there during the birth?
The day after the birth, he showed up to the hospital, seen Jeremiah, and left.
And has Mr. Messer been incarcerated during most of Jeremiah's life?
Yes, the first 7 years of Jeremiah's life.
And when was Mr. Messer released from jail?
November of 2018.
And has he made any attempt to see Jeremiah since he's been released from jail?
No, ma'am.
So are you asking the court to appoint you as managing conservator and Mr. Messer as possessory conservator?
Yes.
And are you comfortable with Mr. Messer visiting with Jeremiah?
Supervised visiting.
And who would supervise those visits?
Either me or my father, Christopher Alzine.
And are you asking the court to set a modified visits with 7 initial periods where either you or your father would supervise, and then Mr. Messer would graduate to each modified period before a standard visits?
Yes.
And where would these pick up and drop off for these visits take place?
2002 Hill Street, Baytown, Texas, 77520.
And that's your father's address?
Yes.
And why is it that you don't want the pickup and drop off to be at your residence?
I've had a lot of harassment from him and from his family towards me and my child, and people driving by my house and threatening me whenever they did know my location. So,
and have you had any problems within the last 2 years?
No, they don't know where I live.
And do you think that in the future, if your address is disclosed in this order, that Mr. Messer or his family could cause you or the child harm, abuse, harassment, or injury?
Yes, ma'am. Once he finds out he's been put on child support and they find out my new address.
Okay. And do you know where Mr. Messer is currently working?
No.
Do you know if he has any other children?
Yes.
How many other children does he have?
One other son.
And how old is that child?
12 days older than my son.
And how is your child covered under health insurance at this time?
He has Medicaid.
And are you agreeing to maintain that health insurance for your child?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you agree to pay half of any costs that are not covered by insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking the court to order that Mr. Messer pay child cash medical support in the amount of $57 a month starting November 1?
Yes.
And are you asking the court to set current child support at $217 beginning November 1?
Yes.
And Ms. Azun, do you understand that both of these child support obligations are based on minimum wage?
Yes.
And you stated that Mr. Messer had been incarcerated for most of the child's life and was released in 2018. Is that true?
Yes.
In November of 2018 was when he was released. He didn't visit the child, but did he provide any direct financial support for the care of the child?
No.
And are you asking the court to set back child support from November 1, 2018 until today, again, based on minimum wage in the amount of $10,416?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking for a payout of that back support to begin November 1 at $102 a month?
Yes, ma'am.
And if court costs are billed, do you want yourself or Mr. Messer to pay those?
Him, Mr. Messer.
And do you agree to maintain your address with the state registry
Yes, ma'am.
if your address is maintained confidential? Thank you. And have you reviewed this order today?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Judge, I pass this witness.
All right, the court will approve the order submitted.